I am getting so mad and tired of American Airlines, though. American Airlines, I kind of understand their point of view, but it does not make me any less upset and mad at what's happening. So, okay, let me try and explain, chat, what's happening, okay? So take notes of this, chat, okay? So going back home to Sweden, we actually had two bookings because there was no good bookings with a single individual airline. So I actually had two separate tickets. We had one booking from LA to Philadelphia to Boston, and then we had a separate booking from Boston, Amsterdam, Sweden. Makes sense, right? No problem. We have a 2-hour layover, so all we really gotta do is just board in LA, right? Fly to Boston, and then just go out of security, pick up your bag, recheck it, and then, you know, continue your travels, right? Not a big deal. Well, somehow, in our middle stop in Philadelphia, American Airlines only put me and Maisie together at 3 bags. They board 2 of the 3 bags, but leave 1 behind. Somehow, they just accidentally leave 1 of the bags behind. They literally just flat out just leave it behind. So like, if you look at the app for the booking, it shows that 1 of the checked luggages are on its way to Boston and 1 is in Philadelphia. Anyways, we'll land in Boston, and we have a phone call from the baggage office in Philadelphia being like, hey, there's a bag left behind for some reason. We will ship it to Boston. And I was like, don't. There's no reason to send it to Boston. I need it shipped to Sweden, because if you send it there now, I won't be in the Boston airport in a few hours when it will arrive. And they were like, that's fine. Just send it to Boston, and then you can just like talk to KLM and they will get it back to you for Sweden. I was like, sounds great. Anyways, so I continue my travel all the way back home without my last bag. I get to Sweden, and then KLM goes, actually, American Airlines lied to you, because since we never actually got the bag, it's not actually our responsibility, it's American Airlines. I think you can all agree, to this point, it kind of is fair and it kind of makes sense, right? Like, it makes sense that KLM doesn't want to pay for shipping the bag when it was all, you know, American Airlines' fault for getting in this situation. Anyways, here is where the struggle begins. American Airlines go, we don't have to do anything because you only had a ticket to Boston. We got your bag to Boston. And I was like, I don't care. I need my bag. Like, and they were like, sorry, you have to go to Boston to pick up your bag. You have 3 days before we throw it away. Because after 3 days, we throw away the bags that are lost in the baggage claim. And I was like, I'm not flying to Boston to pick up my bag. Like, I'm in Sweden right now. I can't fly to Boston to pick up my bag from your office. And then I was like, can someone else pick it up? They're like, no, you have to pick it up. Also, the bag is under Maisie's name. So Maisie would have to theoretically fly back to Boston, pick up the bag, and go back. Also, they're throwing it away today. Either way, I'm like, okay, no, I want to schedule it for delivery. And they're like, okay, call this phone number. I call the phone number. I sit in wait line for 2 hours. Don't get any responses whatsoever. I hang up and give up. Later that night, I try and call the number again. I wait for an hour and a half. I get connected to someone. I explain the situation, and they go, oh, sorry, I can't do anything about bags. I'm only for buying tickets. And I was like, what do you mean? I literally got connected. This is the baggage number. And they were like, yeah, they must have connected you to the wrong number. I will like transfer you over to the baggage claim people. I waited for 4 hours on hold. And then the phone call automatically disconnected. I'm not over exaggerating. 4 hours. Like, I literally like could show you. It was literally 4 hours. Like, you can see the call line. 4 hours. And then it auto hung up. Anyways, I call again. I finally get to talk to someone. And they go, sorry, I can't actually ship you the bag. You have to file a baggage claim on our website. And then I go, but your website says that you can only file a claim if it's been lost for 5 days. You've told me clearly that after 3 days, you throw the bag away because it's considered like, not like, I'm not gonna pick it up. So I can't wait 5 days to file a missing bag claim. When it's not missing, it's in Boston, you just don't wanna do anything. At this point though, I try and use my verified badge to my advantage on Twitter. I tweet at American Airlines on Twitter thinking maybe they will care when they realize that I have a verified badge because I'm getting desperate. I need my bag back. Anyways, somehow it starts off bad, turns good, and now I don't know. So it's actually kind of funny because I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, how can I get American Airlines to actually notice me? So instead of just tweeting directly at them, you know, like with just a rage tweet, I decided to do like, hey, I'm a home tweet, but include American Airlines in the tweet so that they hopefully would see the tweet. Okay? Makes sense, right? I think that makes total sense. So anyways, so I make this tweet. Back home in Sweden, it was a long day of travel, but it feels great to be home. Now I just need American Air, that's their Twitter account, to actually send me my luggage home because it's stuck in Boston and customer service is not willing to ship it. Then Aiden responds with verified account asking for help on Twitter, classic. And I go, I've been on the customer support line for over 2 hours. I'm desperate, bro. I need my luggage. I don't even know why this is an issue. They respond with, we're glad you had a great trip. We'll post updates in your bag via the link. I respond with, read the tweet. Like, I literally had nothing else to respond with. Like, what? I literally had nothing else to respond with. I just said, read the tweet. That was all I had to say. I was like, read the tweet. And then they responded with, we can check on any updates for your bags. Meet us in the DMs with your bag file number. Anyways, this is where the story gets dance game and it goes into what I was talking about earlier. I DM them back and forth. I explain them the situation. And they say, we've checked and we check and we see that you haven't filed a claim. Your bag has been in Boston since yesterday. You can either go to pick it up in person within the next 2 days, or you can file a claim to one of our agents on the line so we can arrange a delivery. And then they say, please speak to our baggage team to set up a delivery. I say, what is the contact number for the baggage team? I've tried to call your helpline twice now, and every time I get transferred, I wait over an hour just for the phone call to get cut off. I want the exact number to the line. They provided me with 2 different phone numbers. Those were the 2 phone numbers that I sat in for 4 hours before it auto disconnected from me. And one of them that they provided was the wrong number because it was buying tickets, not baggage claim. This morning, I rage responded and I said, I've called twice. I've wasted over 8 hours of my life on your phone line. Today's the last 3rd day where you guys will hold my bag. I need to have someone contact me so we can ship my luggage. I'm not spending another 8 hours of my life on the phone. And they say, what is the best contact number and email address? We'll forward the information to the baggage team. So according to them, they have forwarded my information and I will get a message from the baggage team soon. However, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't believe them. I don't believe them. I truly don't believe them at this point. I don't believe that they will just casually email me soon with all the help I need. I don't believe it. But here's the thing. I need them to respond today because they only hold the luggage for 3 days. Here's the thing. I got lucky. Okay, here's the thing. The reason why I'm not fuming of rage and I'm not like the most like pissed off person in the world is because I got somewhat lucky because I had 2 bags. The one that they lost, thankfully, was the bag with mostly my clothes. It has a few tech stuff in it, cables and stuff, but it mostly has my clothes. The bag with my streaming equipment, thankfully, was not the one that was lost. That's how I'm able to stream right now. So I got lucky in the way that my bag with streaming stuff was the one that didn't get lost. So the one with the most expensive stuff in it, I do have right here. Here's the thing that scares me though. So I have a small portable computer. It's like about $1,000. I usually let Maisie use it. We almost missed our flight. So I don't know if either A, I forgot to pack the computer, or if it's in the other bag. Because I had 2 checked luggages, right? One in the living room that I put my streaming stuff in, and one in the bedroom. The bedroom was where Maisie was, which is where she had the portable PC. So either A, I left it in LA, which I won't find out until the mid of March, when the person I was staying at goes back to his apartment, or it's in that bag. Here's the thing though that sucks about the whole reimbursement of the equipment in the bag. I'm telling you right now, knowing American law, even if I don't get my bag back, I don't think I can get reimbursed. Because I think you need some serious proof that what's in the bag. I don't think I can just tell them I have my Intel NUC worth $1,000 in that bag, and they'll be like, cool, we'll give you $1,000 to reimburse you for the missed laptop and hundreds of dollars worth of clothes. I'm pretty sure I will need like some sort of proof what was in the bag. Maybe it's just better for you to fly to Boston at this point. Hell nah. I'm not flying back to Boston to pick up my bag. Also, today's the 3rd day. This is the last day. Today, they're gonna stop holding my bag. There's no way I'm spending the money to fly back from Sweden to Boston to pick up a bag to fly back home. That's like 30 hours of travel to get a bag. If I were to go on board a plane right now, I would make it because I'm traveling back in time zones, but it would be tight. I'm sure I could find someone, maybe if I do that random ass tweet, I'm sure I could find someone that's in Boston to pick up my bag, but I don't think I should need to try and do that. They should just ship my luggage. Like, here's the thing too. I have offered them in my contact with American Airlines, I would be willing to pay for the shipping. Even though I shouldn't, I would be willing to pay for the shipping and I would be willing to send it to an American address. Does that make sense, Chad? Like, I would 100% be okay to just even ship it to, like, California to France and pay for the shipping, even if I don't have to. It's not about the money of paying for shipping. It's not even about the fact that I'm spoiled and needed to get to Sweden. I just don't want them to, you know, throw away the baggage. It was funny, by the way. You could tell it was super funny when we went to check in. By the way, in Boston for our flight to Amsterdam in Sweden. It was super funny because of the fact that to check into your flights, the airlines have information of what the COVID restrictions is to the area that you're traveling to, and you need to show them all the documentation before you're allowed to like actually check into your flight, right? So for example, anytime I want to fly to the States right now, I have to check in at the airport. I can't do it online, and I also have to show them like, you know, my vaccination. I need to show them my negative COVID test and all that sort of thing, right? Well, it was funny because I think the employees are not used to flights to like the Scandinavian countries, because if you don't know, all the Scandinavian countries have removed all COVID restrictions. So when we're checking in, they were like, okay, let's see here, Sweden. And then the guy employee went like, wait, what? Sweden has 0 restrictions? Like, he was so shocked to find out that an international travel had 0. So yeah, so we could it was like an actual non-COVID year where like, I didn't have to show all this crazy amount of documentation to board my flight. I could simply just, you know, board. I didn't have to show them all of this documentation. I had when I say that I had a bad day traveling back home to Sweden, I truly mean it. I truly mean it. Not only all this baggage stuff, but there's more stuff happening. So, this is gonna be like weird, champ, but let me try and explain, okay, chat? So I was supposed to fly from LA to Boston, okay? And then just Boston back home. Well, about a week before travel happened, I got an email saying that that American Airlines had canceled the flight from LAX to Boston, so I had a layover. So I'd have to instead go LA to New York to Boston. And then 5 minutes later, I received a second email. I opened it and it was a duplicate, at least what I thought was a duplicate. Originally, I was supposed to fly out at 8 a.m. from LA. Well, you remember that duplicate email I got that I thought was a duplicate email because I opened it and the plane ticket looked identical? It was, except for one correction. They had apparently typed the wrong time for boarding on the first plane. So it actually wasn't 8 a.m. I had to fly out from LA, it was 6:30. So I knew that I had the extra layover. I didn't see though that they had changed the time last minute from 8 a.m. to 6:30. And remember, you also can't check in online, so I wasn't constantly trying to check into the flight online. I was just waiting to do it at the airport, right? Anyways, I haven't packed. So I take a nap on the final day in LA, and I wake up at 4:30 a.m. I start packing, and then randomly I just think, I wonder if I can reserve my seat for the plane even if I can't check in. I open up the American Airlines app, and I notice that the time has changed. So instead of flying at 8 a.m., it's 6:30. When I noticed this mistake, I still haven't finished packing. The airport is about 40 minutes away, and boarding starts in about an hour. And we're talking about LAX, which, if you know American big airports, Even if I were to jump on right now, an Uber and get there, getting to an airport 20 minutes before boarding starts is a very, very bad time and idea. And remember, I haven't finished packing yet because I thought that I had an extra 2 hours, but they changed the flight, right? At this point, I pack everything in 5 minutes. I already know I forgot some stuff. I've already discovered I forgot my AirPods, I forgot my Wii U gamepad, I forgot the power cable for my Wii U, the power cable for the Wii U gamepad, and some others, and my mouse. So I forgot plenty of stuff because you can imagine trying to pack everything in 5 minutes, you're gonna forget stuff. Like, packing in 5 minutes is not a good idea. Anyways, I throw everything together. 5-minute packing. I just throw everything in the bags. And I just call an Uber and I go. We somehow make it to LAX on time. But we arrive at the check-in counter. I'm not kidding. I'm not over-exaggerating. 44 minutes before the flight. Or 14 minutes before boarding. When I go to check in my luggage, they say, we can't check in your luggage because we have a policy that we can't check in bags later than 45 minutes before the flight leaves. And that was 1 minute ago. So we cannot check in your luggage because you are a minute late. And I'm like, please, let me check in my luggage. They're like, no, we have a policy. We cannot check in a luggage for if it's closer than 45 minutes from the plane. And I'm like, dude, it's literally 1 minute late. Like, I'm not over exaggerating, literally 1 minute late. And I am like, please. And they're like, no. And then I say, okay, can you please rebook me to another flight? I need to arrive at Boston at 5 p.m. because my flight from Boston is at 7 p.m. and I need to recheck my luggage because I'm flying with a different airline in Boston. Is there any other airplane that you can put me on that somehow gets me from LAX to Boston in time? And somehow there is. A plane leaves 5 minutes after the one to New York. So instead of going LAX to New York to Boston, they have one from LA to Philadelphia to Boston, and it leaves 5 minutes later. But because it's 5 minutes later, it's fine, because that means it's within the 45 minutes, which means they can't check the luggage. So they rebook me and Maisie for the flight that's literally 5 minutes later to Philadelphia instead, because it is then just barely enough to where they can check in the luggage. Anyways, they go, how many bags do you have? And I say, I have 2 bags and she has 2 bags. They go, okay, sounds great. So I put up my 2 bags and they were like, okay, you can go through security now. And I go, excuse me, you just took 2 of my bags. She still has her 2 bags. And they go, what do you mean? You said you only had 2 bags. And I was like, no, I said that I have 2 bags and she has 2 bags. And they go, no, you didn't. And then I'm like, can't you just check in these bags that Maisie has? And they go, no, because now it's within 45 minutes of the plane leaving, so we can't check in your other bags. Because I guess while they were checking in my 2 bags, it had just reached a moment to where the 5 minutes had passed, so now the flight was leaving in 43 minutes. And here's where I get really mad. I'm like, then what do we do? You've already checked in my 2 bags. She goes, excuse me for a minute. She gets a supervisor, she swipes her card, and they then have permission to actually check in Maisie's luggage after the 45 minutes. This entire thing could have been skipped if the first time we went to the counter, she would have gotten a supervisor, because a supervisor apparently has the right to check in a bag from 45 minutes before until 30 minutes before. They just don't want to do it. But if the supervisor swipes their card, they have access to check in a luggage past the 45 minutes, which means that they didn't have to reschedule it at all if they would have done it from the start. But they were mad. They're like, we're not checking in both of yours because that one is small enough to be in a overhead. So we're going to check in the third one. Anyways, we check into 3 and then we go to security. Now, we get to security. We are boarding in 5 minutes. And the LAX line, if you've ever been to LAX or LA, you will know the security line is long. So I'm like, we can't miss this flight. Like, we literally can't. It will be so much. I looked up online. It's like $2,000 to get a last minute flight back home to Sweden. So I was like, we have to get on this plane, and it boards in 5 minutes. And this security line is massive. But I see that over there, they have a priority line that we don't have access to. So I run up to this lady and I go, and I put on like some fake kind of tears, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I need to get home, and our flight board's in 5 minutes, and I need to get through here, and I like, can we please go through the superiority? And like, I get super sad, and I'm like, please just let us through this line so we can go through, because the priority one has like no one in it, but the normal one has a shit ton of line. And then she goes, fine, good luck, make it to the flight in 5 minutes. And then I turn around and go, Maisie, let's go. And her face drops because you can hear my tone. I'm no longer sad. And she's like, you didn't tell me there was someone else with you. I thought it was just you. Because, you know, they're not supposed to let, you know, our normies into the priority line. Anyways, I'm like, thank you so much. And just run past her. But somehow, we clutch it out. We make it to the plane 5 minutes after boarding is started. But we make it. We are currently, they're boarding group 8 out of 8. Literally last boarding group. We just make it. We get on the plane. And we made it home. I don't know how it happened, but somehow, 5 minutes of packing and arriving at LAX and getting to security line 5 minutes before boarding somehow paid out. We somehow made it all. I would have said that it was a clutch situation and it was perfect travel if it wasn't for the fact that on top of that though, then they still lost their bag. If it wasn't for the fact that they lost their bag, I would say that I wouldn't be mad at the travel turnout. But yeah, anyways, horrible time. Hey, I got the email from American Airlines, Chad. It confirms that they have scheduled a delivery for my luggage. I can't believe it. It's real. It's happening. Good news and bad news, though. Good news is that I'm getting the luggage. The bad news is that, most of my clothes were in that, luggage. And I do not want to spend the money to ship it over to Sweden once it arrives at the house in California, LA. So I guess I'm just going to live with only like a third of my clothes for the next month or two before I move to the US. So expect a lot of the same clothes because I will not have a big selection of clothes to pick from now.